Good afternoon, everyone. Good morning, Colin and Rolf, who's joining us from Shanghai, China. We know that it's 6 a.m. for you guys, 6 p.m. for us on the other side of the world. So we want to say welcome to the members of the Bahamas Project Management community. And for those who are joining us for the first time, I don't know if you want to come off camera and just quickly introduce yourself if this is your first time attending one of our meetings.
Hi, unfortunately, I can't come off camera right now because I'm still in the hairdresser. I was running a bit late, so I can't, but I'm on. My name is Tabitha. I'm from Bahamas, of course, originally from Grand Bahama, been in Nassau for about 5 years. Got my project management certification last year. So just glad to be here and be a part of the community.
Thank you so much for joining us, Tabitha. Is there anyone else who would like to speak, introduce themselves if this is your first time in our meetup?
I can do it from
Go ahead.
Shanghai, China. I'm Rolf Kohler, and I'm curious about what you're doing. It's the first time, and Colin became a good friend through coaching contacts, and I'm very interested in the subject. So happy to meet all of you, and greetings to the US.
Yes, thank you so much.
Wherever you are.
Yes, we are scattered all over the place, apparently. Anyone else wants to say hello before we move on?
This is Brian John, Nassau, Bahamas. I'm retired, so I'm on other people's time, which became my time now, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Jacks. Anyone else? Floor is still open. We have 1 more minute.
Good afternoon. I'm Caroline Davo. Happy birthday to our presenter this evening. Too bad you're not in the Bahamas. We will enjoy it even more. I'm leaving work now, so thank you so much. I'm interested in this blockchain, right? Interested to hear about the blockchain.
Yes, thank you, Caroline, and drive safely if you're leaving work.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone else?
Good day. Just like to say hello to everyone. I'm Eugene Lockhart. I'm an air traffic controller from the Nassau, Bahamas. Happy birthday, Colin.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Yes. Okay, anyone else want to say quickly something before we move on? I'm so glad that you guys have decided to turn on your cameras and I don't have to force you to turn on any cameras today. Now, we try to make the session so interactive. We want to see your faces instead of the black screens with the names, but come on camera as you feel fit. We'd like to see you. But we want to say again, happy birthday, Colin Thompson, and thank you for joining us all the way from Shanghai, China. We know that you got up super early to be here with us and on your birthday, which I was not aware of. So I'm truly grateful for you slotting us in on your special day. And we like to get started with a prayer to get our group going. So Heavenly Father, we thank you for this opportunity to come before you once again as friends located all over the world in this grouping of networking. Lord, we thank you for the opportunity to have the Bahamas Project Management community, those members and followers who are so committed to this community, Lord. We thank you for blessing everything that is done and said in this atmosphere. And we give you all the glory, honor, and praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. And before we move on, I would like to say congratulations to the participants who partook in the Certified Scrum Master training that we had on July 31st and August 1st. We actually had 8 persons who signed up and took that training class. That was our first ever training provided by the Bahamas Project Management Community and Creative Minds. And so congratulations to those of you who have already taken your certification exam and who are now certified Scrum Masters. So congratulations on that accomplishment. And we look forward to working with you and continuing your journey along the Agile pathway, wherever that journey takes you. So let me introduce myself for those of you who are new. My name is Andrea Pratt-Smith, and I am the founder of the Bahamas Project Management Community. I am the creative project manager of Creative Minds Project Development and Consultation Company, which sponsors the Bahamas project management community. And I am very proud of the work that we've done since we have been formed on June 1st. We actually just formed June 1st, just a few short months ago. And we completed a very successful first project, which was a kids club. And the feedback was phenomenal. You guys would not imagine the amount of parents that came and said they wanted to sign up their kids in our next cohort, which we don't even have scheduled. But it was so successful that a few of the kids have actually decided to continue their business. And I'm proud to say that, you know, I always brag about my daughter, but my 9-year-old daughter participated in the program. And when we get back home, she should have a business license. She actually decided to continue a business. So Sweet Tooth will be a continuation of an actual business that she's going to be operating. So I'm incorporating entrepreneurship and marketing into her curriculum for this upcoming school year. So she's going to continue working on her business. So I want to congratulate her on her accomplishments and her success with the Kids Club, along with all of the other kids who did so well. And moving right along, I want to now let you know that our presenter, Colin Thompson, I said it before, he's joining us from Shanghai, China. Let me just bring up his bio and introduce him quickly. Colin C Thompson, a Canadian-born Jamaican, is founder and CEO of Oligai Enterprises. I hope I pronounced that correctly. A business consulting company focused on coaching, training, and blockchain technologies. Specializing in personal development, diversity, and career coaching, Colin coaches individuals and groups on how to reach their dreams, goals, and desires. Colin developed an extensive background in the information technology field, working for blue chip organizations such as International Business Machines, better known as IBM, Ernst & Young, and Howard University. In addition, Colin is co-founder of Xchains, a blockchain-based education and workforce platform for assessments, training, coaching, and the award of digital credentials. Colin graduated from Howard University in 1995 with a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in computer-based information systems, and in 2006 with a double concentration MBA in supply chain management and e-business technologies. In his downtime, he enjoys pushing himself through competing in various events such as marathons and triathlons with his wife, Kay. Happy birthday, Colin. The floor is yours.
So Andrea, thank you. And yeah, guys, I agree. I need to shorten down my bio. So one of the first things on my list here is to shorten down my bio. So it is great to be here, and let me fly my Jamaican flag here, right? It feels good to virtually be back in the Caribbean. I've not been back in that area in about, actually 5 years ago. My wife and I got married in Jamaica about 4 or 5 years ago. That was the last time I was back in that region. I look forward to getting back there early. So I know it's Thursday evening for you guys. Most of you are going home from work or working all day. I want to make sure we do one thing. Let's have fun. I mean, can we have fun talking about blockchain? I don't know. We're going to find out. But let's make sure we have a fun, nice Caribbean time, right? Take it easy, not too much pressure. But I'm going to ask you guys a few times to lean in and really be part of the conversation. I do not want to lecture. I think if I do try and lecture, probably in about 15 minutes, people are going to turn TVs on, right? So I don't want to lecture. I want to make sure we're having a very interactive time today. I do want to take a moment to recognize Dr. Larry Davis. And Dr. Larry Davis, if you want to just introduce yourself really quick. Dr. Larry Davis, I believe, will be presenting to this group in a few weeks. He is a business partner of mine, but more importantly, he is a fellow Bahamian also. So Dr. Davis, if you're there and present, can you say hello?
Hello, everyone. Glad to be a part of what's going on here. Certainly glad to have my co-founder Colin presenting today, and just loving to hear from him. For geographical reference, my family home is on Eleuthera, or I should say Eleuthera.
Okay, which part of Eleuthera? Which settlement?
JC.
Oh, same
Just
sister.
a little south of Governor's Harbor
Okay,
Village.
yeah.
Yeah, so Larry was very excited when I told him that this group is based in the Bahamas. So Andrea, can you please give me the opportunity to host, please? I would like to share my screen.
Most definitely. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so here we are, August 13th, and yes, it's August 13th where I am. And I know by now we may be going through Zoom overload. So again, I must admit I'm using PPTs today, and I hope you guys can still give us the energy. Today we're here to talk about blockchain and business. So you're gonna see this broken up into two parts. First, giving you some basics about blockchain, and then how blockchain is being used in business, which I think you may find fascinating. We have two cases to talk about. Before I go, before I start, excuse me, I also want to congratulate the CSMs, those who just recently got your Certified Scrum Masters certificate, congratulations. And those who got your PMP, congratulations. I look forward to seeing how these two things just don't mesh that well, right? I got my PMP back in 2002 and my CSM, I want to say 4 years ago. And as you know, Agile project management, don't couple the best. So I look forward to joining you guys again, perhaps talking about the contrast between these two very important certifications. So congratulations to all of you who have those certifications. They're very well regarded in the work field. So congratulations there. Okay, so today, all right. So 3 takeaways from today, okay? The ability to explain blockchain to a teenager. And I purposely didn't say to a 5-year-old because 5-year-olds may not ask questions back. I want you guys to be able to answer a few questions a teenager may have about blockchain by the time we finish today. Also, talk in some detail about a real use case of blockchain in supply chain, a real use case, and then also the ability to visualize future uses of blockchain in the healthcare industry. So 3 takeaways. Now, if you walk away and you're able to have one of these takeaways, I will feel I did my job. So don't feel pressure to get all 3. But definitely try to make sure you take away or walk away here with something. And of course, most of you have been in a lot of training. You know the best way to take away is have conversations, right? So the more you interact, the more you will learn. So based on that, my first question to this group is, what are you going to do today to make this time, the next 90 minutes, a success? So use your chat box here. If you're driving, don't take part in this, right? But use the chat box here. Between 1 and 7, how engaged will you be over the next 90 minutes? 1 being not too much, 7 being really engaged. I'm not pushing you to go 7, but I just want to see where you are at 6:15 on a Thursday. Okay, so I see Omar is saying 7. Thank you, Omar. So if you can use the chat box here, guys, how engaged will you be over the next 90 minutes? I see 5, 6, 6. Okay. 4, okay. 5, 4, okay. All right, so I'm seeing pretty engaged. Okay, which means I must really have a lot of energy. Okay, pretty engaged. Thank you for that. Now, think about what number you chose between 1 and 7. The next question is, what can you do right now to your environment to really reach that level? We're going to have an icebreaker coming up next. This may mean getting coffee. This may mean moving to the couch. What will you do in the next few minutes to really adjust the environment to reach your level, okay? So you have the opportunity in a moment to make that change. And whatever that is, make it. Maybe it's making a cocktail, I don't know. Whatever that is, take time in the next exercise to make that change. And then finally, for our final success factor, how much risk are you willing to take today between 1 and 7? And what I mean by risk is, if you don't know something, will you say, Colin, stop. Can you go over that again? Or Colin, I heard about that. Here are my thoughts. Are you willing to really be engaged? So again, between 1 and 7, 1, not really engaged, not really willing to take risk, and 7, if you have a question or are unknown, you will ask that question for clarification. Let's see here. Okay, all right. I see a few numbers here. Okay, thank you, Omar. All right, so pretty much on level. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, we're now going to do, yes, folks, we must do an icebreaker. All of you guys may know each other. I don't know you guys yet, so we're going to play a little virtual game called Pass the Pen, okay? So take a moment and edit your name in Zoom to what you want to be called throughout, because sometimes I do ask for questions if I feel we're not having a conversation. I will not call anybody out, but I will ask somebody about their thoughts on the topic. So grab a pen or pencil. When the pen is passed to you, please share your name, location, industry, and one fact, idea, myth, or belief about blockchain. And you have 30 seconds to do that, plenty of time. Then using your screen and your pen, find somebody who hasn't spoken and pass the pen to them, okay? Now for this works much better when we do what? When we have our cameras on. So let me stop my sharing here. So if you can, for the next, 5 minutes, have your camera on. We know backgrounds, everybody might not have the virtual background. I'm in my bedroom, I have a bed right here. So we do understand that people are at home, so don't worry about your background. But if you're able to do that, if you're not able to turn your camera on, you can still pass the pen to somebody who hasn't spoken. So I will go first. Well, first of all, any questions? No questions, okay, so I will go first.
No, I have a quick question. Can you go back
Yeah.
to that screen with the instructions? Because I think that flew by a bit fast.
Okay, not a problem.
I'll be the one to speak up for the class because like
Yes.
everybody missed it. And
Thank
no one
you.
wants to say it.
Thank you, Andrea.
Okay,
Thank you.
okay.
Because that
So,
was
yeah. I get excited, guys. When I get excited, I go, right? So thank you, Andrea, for having the risk to jump in, right? So again, you can edit your name to what you want to be called over the next 90 minutes. Grab a pen or pencil, okay? When a pen is passed to you, for example, I may say, I pass this to Eugene. Then Eugene would share his name, location, industry, one fact, idea, myth, or belief he has about blockchain. And you have plenty of time, 30 seconds. Then using your screen, pass the pen to the next person. I will continue until everybody has introduced themselves. Now, you don't have to have your camera on for this. Of course, it's better, but you don't have to have your camera on for this. But if you can't have it on for 5 minutes, turn it back off, perfect. Okay, so when you guys are ready, let me know. Or better yet, is anybody not ready? All right. Okay, so here we go. My name is Colin C Thompson. I'm here in Shanghai, China. I am in the, I'm in the IT industry. One thing about blockchain, I believe years ago, blockchain is going to change the world. Okay, I will pass this pen to Latisha. Hello, Latisha. Okay, so I will pass the pen to Fabian.
Okay. Timing is everything. All right, so my name is Fabian from the Bahamas. My industry is marketing. And two things, I really believe that blockchain is a secure technology, but definitely this morning I read that the Poly network blockchain was hacked in the tune of, I think it was $610 million. So I guess that's one of my questions I have out of this session, if the technology is so secure, how do we still have, persons hacking the technology, and how does that happen?
Great question. We'll get to that. You want to pass the next person?
Yeah, so I'll pass the pen to Ralph.
Well, good morning. Thank you very much. I'm Rolf Kohler. I'm based in Shanghai for more than 17 years now, and I met Colin recently, as I told you earlier. Regarding blockchain, my knowledge is very limited, but I heard that is a almost 100%, or I thought 100% safe way, especially in financial transactions. And I'm curious, in a world where there's still a lot of cheating going on, and how can this help me and others to have trustful and reliable structures? So curious to learn. I know very little, I must admit, and so I will pass my pen now to well, who's there? Letheria, maybe.
Good afternoon. My name is Letheria Lockhart. I am an administrative professional. I have even less knowledge of blockchain than Ralph does, but I am interested in finding out how I can basically put my faith into something of this nature. Oh, and I pass the chain on to Caroline.
Thank you, Letheria. Good afternoon. My name is Caroline, and I'm in Nassau, Bahamas. My industry is law enforcement, information technology. And one fact, I'm going to give you a myth too. I hope it's a myth after this presentation. One fact is, when blockchain first came out, I actually thought if I got involved, I could somehow get rich. I don't know. And so 2 days ago, when I told a friend I have a meeting reference to blockchain, they were like, "Oh, that just get hacked. What blockchain? That just get hacked." So I'm hearing that that is true. It was just hacked. So I'm really interested in this presentation. Now I'm going to pass the pen to, hold on, I'm driving, so I get to see all the participants. Omar. Omar.
Hi guys. Yeah, I'm here. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Omar. I am located in Puerto Rico. My industry is cybersecurity. I am a product owner. And as for blockchain goes, I'm not surprised it was hacked. It was about time, if I'm very honest, because I knew somebody was gonna find it. Now, one thing that I've always done or known is blockchain is much more than just cryptocurrency. And many people, when they hear blockchain, the first thing they think of is in Bitcoin instead of the other solutions that have arisen from the implementation of blockchain. And then I have the pen and I will pass it off to Eugene.
Hello, everyone. Again, I'm Eugene Lockhart. You can call me Gene if you like. And I'm an air traffic controller. I've been in the industry since 1980. I love the job, and I proud to be of service to the country, keeping our skies safe. I know very little about blockchain, and I'm very interested in learning more. And I will pass the pen over to, is it Kieran? Or
Yes,
Keon?
Keon. Hello, everybody. My name is Keon Horton, and I would say my industry is in the retail industry / waste management. And I would say, as far as blockchain, I got introduced to blockchain when in terms of, you know, the whole digital currency and Bitcoin thing. But at the same time, when I found out blockchain could be used for so much more, then it really, you know, I would say it sparked some of my interest, because like I say, I'm involved in retail and waste management. So when I found out that I could just use it and apply it to so much more, you know, like I say, it sparked so much interest, and it really, I'd say it really got me on board a little more, and I started to do just a little bit of research. I don't know as much about it as I should, but like I say, it's pretty interesting, and it's something I would look forward to learning more about. And let me see, I'll pass the pen on to Larry Davis.
You're on mute.
So I went deep and I caught the pen. So yeah, all good. So I'm Larry Davis. I am an engineer. So lots of programming, lots of math. The thing that when I first learned about blockchain, I was just interested in the fact that you could completely change the economy of a business, of a market. And if you think broadly enough, you could even start to change economies of countries. So that was the thing that amazed me, or that interested me. The misconception that I had was that that the software, the interfaces for using it would be a lot nicer than it is. Like it's still not that user friendly. It's gotten a lot better, but it still takes some getting used to. And I'm going to pass the pen to Carol Dan.
And she already went.
She already went.
I'll
I'm
pass
sorry.
the pen back to you to pass it to someone.
Okay, well, I'll go to Sophia then.
Hello. Hi, it's Sophia from the Bahamas. My knowledge of blockchain is also a bit limited. I think I have a technology background, and I always say, when you hear these new buzzwords, you always think that it's going to take off and, in a few years, everyone's going to be using it. But it doesn't seem to happen. And I guess I'm interested in hearing what are some of the impediments? Why are people so reluctant to embrace some of these new technologies? So I guess that's what I'd like to learn. And I will pass the pen to, what does this say? Latisha? Latisha, did you go?
Hi. Sorry, my camera is playing crazy. So my name is Latisha Colebrook. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. My name is Latisha Colebrook. I'm from Nassau, Bahamas. I work for a utility company, and I am new to the blockchain, and I'm truly interested in finding out whatever is there to know about it. So I'll pass the pen on to, I gotta open the screen. I don't even know who else. No, I think Mark, you already went?
Not yet.
Hi, Mark. Did you already go on?
No, I haven't gone on yet.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, I haven't gone on yet. Sorry, sir. Trying to unmute myself there. I would just basically like to hear how, how it's disrupted a lot of different industries. That's about it from me. I'm gonna pass the pen to
Mark, where are you? Where are you?
In Bahamas, Nassau, Bahamas.
And what industry are you in?
Yes. IT.
IT. Okay. Okay, good. Go ahead, sir.
All right. That's it for me. I'm gonna pass the pen to Monique.
Pleasant good evening to all. My name is Monique Caesar. I'm here in the beautiful island of the Bahamas where God lives. I am an IT professional. I learned a lot from last year to now, thanks to COVID and YouTube University, about the blockchain. Most of it, though, geared towards cryptocurrency and using it as a medium of exchange to cross border lines for new investment opportunities. Trying to get deeper into that as well as how it can be used in other facets, things of that nature. Thank you. And I pass it to the Fortillion.
Hi, good. My name is Evans. I'm in the traffic signal industry /IT. I've known crypto blockchain from when it first came out, but one of my thing was I was a little hesitant about it because not much people knew about it. I keep myself up to date with it, know what's going on, but still kind of skeptical of. It's been about, I think, about at least about 20 years now. It still haven't developed. It developed, but it's not a household name everywhere. The way I want to see it, like how it was intended to be, to use it as a currency, no matter wherever you go, it valued the same amount wherever you decide to go. It doesn't change. I passed the pen on to Andrea.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the pass, Evans. My name is Andrea. My friends call me Andy. That was my grandmother's pet name for me, Andy. I'm from Nassau, Bahamas, but I'm presently visiting South Florida. I know nothing about blockchain. I tried to do some research, but I'm still a bit in the shadows of it. I tried to get an understanding before this meetup, and I honestly need more help with it because it seems like it's not as simple as it can be when the explanations on the YouTube videos is you know, it's supposed to be a trusted network of, you know, they mentioned Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but when you start throwing all these different terminologies at me, I have to go break out my thesaurus. So I'm interested in learning more, but I'm a blank slate at the moment. And so I will pass to Bibi.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bibi Claire from Nassau, Bahamas. I'm in the healthcare industry. And I just never thought that there could be a hacking going on with blockchain. So I'm just curious to know how can it be fixed and will this happen again? And I will pass on to Pastor Brad. Hi, Pastor Brad, good night. Okay, Pastor Brad isn't there. I shall go to.
I'm here. I'm here. I was just eavesdropping on everyone. I'm Pastor Brad, and that's just not a nickname. That's what I do. I am an associate pastor at our church, responsible for business and administration, limited in blockchain technology, and so looking forward to hear some information. And I am curious as to how Colin will address the hack that happened, because the limited knowledge that I have of blockchain is that it could be untraceable when you are using it as a server, I think somewhere along the line, in terms of transferring funds around. I could be off on that, whether that's a myth or whatever, but I'm looking forward to it. So thanks. I don't know who didn't have it. I think I like at the end of the line now.
Felicia didn't go.
Okay, so I'll pass the pen on to Felicia.
Hello, my name is Felicia Bob. I'm from Freeport. I'm here now, but I was in Madrid. My focus is digital project management with a focus in healthcare, and also I have some experience in app and content strategy. I know a few things about blockchain in terms of my studies. I know that right now it's advancing many industries and has a lot of potential for smart cities, as well as bridging those industries. So I'm looking forward to how it will develop, as well as how they would combat and make sure that safety is a key priority in this. And is there anyone else left to pass?
I think BJ and Jeff Kenny.
And
Okay,
Tabitha.
so I passed it to BJ.
Okay, can you hear me clearly?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm retired. Let's say that first came out of a communication environment. And I was always interested in the internet, IT, and how we move messages, information. Now, here comes blockchain. There's another interest. My interest is how do we get it to benefit people? Everyone but the child in the crib has a cell phone. How do we get blockchain to benefit people? I know everyone's talking about the wealth transfer, but we need, I'm not promoting socialism, but I'm promoting the well-being of mankind. How does it benefit people?
Thank you, sir.
That's what my request is.
Okay, who do you pass the pen to? We have Tabitha and we have Jess Kenny.
Tabitha, sorry, I passed my pen on to Tabitha.
Hi, thank you. Good night, everyone. My name is Tabitha Lord, affectionately called Tabs or Tabby. I'm originally from Grand Bahama. I moved to Nassau about 5 years ago. I'm in the procurement industry. And as far as blockchain, I have little to no knowledge about it. I mean, I've always tried to do a little bit of research on it, but it just seemed a bit cumbersome. And so, yeah, I never really focused, but I'm intrigued to know how it works and what it's all about and everything. And so I'm just glad to be here to learn about it. And I pass the pen to, is it Just Kenny or Rob's? Just Kenny?
Rob's.
So I go, I'm not sure if Rob's went, but in any event, not everybody. Name's Kenny Maki. I work in the banking industry. So basically, as it relates to blockchain, when it first came out, I was kind of excited about it. I thought it would have made like this big impact on the world. So it's like a big dud. I don't want to say a dud, but just disappointing to see, like, he was expecting like, wow, like the world changed tomorrow, but I didn't get that. Didn't happen. I know it was supposed to more or less revolutionize security, verification, and just by doing that, kind of a lot of industries as well. But like I say, just never saw that level of impact. And I am just hearing of this hack. I know, of course, most things can be hacked per se, but I just thought that the scale of effort that would have been taken to do something like that was almost inhuman. So I'm really curious as to how that happened. Yeah, very interested in hearing that tonight. And just to be safe, I am not sure, I would pass my pen to Rob's. Rob's, did you go?
Hi, I'm multitasking here.
I see you.
My name is Roberta. My nickname is actually Robs. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, and we can see you're busy.
Well, I put the camera on for a short moment. So I don't know much about blockchain. Oh, I live in Nassau, Bahamas. I work in accounting. I work for an investment firm. So when it comes to investments, I'm very skeptical on what I feel I could go ahead and invest. I mean, I figure most accountants are like that anyway, in terms of investing money. In terms of blockchain, I don't know anything about it basically, but somebody came to me a little while back about Bitcoin, and I was very skeptical about it. Thinking of, security and everything. I know there's a lot of schemes and everything out there to, for people to go to look enterprising for individuals, you know what I mean? For them to build wealth on, but it doesn't always happen that way. So I am interested to see what you have to say, but I'm a big skeptic.
Thank you. Anybody else? Did we miss anybody? Okay, so thank you for the icebreaker, guys. What this does, it really helps me understand where your level of blockchain education is and whatnot. And I want to say, I'm trying hard to hold back because today is about blockchain, not so much cryptocurrency, right? And when some of you talk about blockchain, what you're really talking about is cryptocurrency. I'm going to try to go through my content, not fast, but faster than planned. So we have more time for Q&A at the end. We can answer some of the questions. I know that, I don't know what happened with the Poly network, but I can guarantee you it was not the blockchain, okay? It was not, I can guarantee you that. But we'll talk about that at the end. A lot of content, a lot of things here. So we're gonna jump in. And again, as I go, if I'm going too fast, slow me down. If you have any questions about anything you're seeing, please just say, Colin, I have a question. If you raise your hand up, it's wonderful. I won't see it.
I have
Okay,
I have a
won't see it.
quick pause. We normally
Yes.
take a photo at the end, but if we can't take the photo now, that'll be great to get it out of the way. So if everyone could turn their cameras on for a quick second, it'll be very quick. Make sure your chopped heads is in the frame and not half a neck. Okay, the camera's on, coming on. This is always the struggle. The struggle is real. Okay, 2 more seconds for the cameras to turn on. Just turn it on quick. I'll press print screen. Let me print screen. Print screen very fast. Okay, Marvin, you have two connections. Okay. All right, Caroline's still driving. Omar probably still on the road. Marvin has 2 screens and nobody else wants to come on. Pastor Brad is going to stay incognito, but we know that's Pastor Brad. Pastor Brad, wasn't at church because I'm traveling. But I'll be at prayer meeting at 6 in the morning. Okay.
Thank you so much.
We got it?
Okay, I don't think any more cameras are coming on, so let's fake smile, everybody. You guys could fake smile so good. So just to make sure. Thank you so much. Moving right along.
Okay. All right, let's get down and dirty with blockchain now. Okay, so today are really 3 key parts of our agenda. Blockchain technology basics, a business use case for supply chain. So supply chain, perhaps Tabitha, you may have an interest there, and a potential blockchain use case in healthcare. So Vivian and Felicia maybe have an interest here for the healthcare side of it as well. So as we go through the basics, if you do have questions, again, if you raise your hand, I won't see it. So just speak out and we'll go a little deeper into that area. So a little bit about my experience. Back in 2017, I heard a buzzword about blockchain. And I was saying, what is this new technology that they're saying is going to change the entire world? I wouldn't, care about that. What I cared about was it was very, very new, which meant that in 2017, if I put my foot down and started learning about this new life-changing technology, in a few years, I could become an expert. All of the technologies have been around for a long time. So I felt this was a great way for me to learn something on the cutting edge. So at the time I was working with IBM, and I really went hard in learning as much as I could about blockchain and how businesses were planning to use it. Back in 2017, a lot of it was more use cases. Here's what we think the future of blockchain and business is. Now we talk about cryptocurrencies. In 2018, I left IBM and I did take part in forming, being part in supporting a new business, which Dr. Davis here was a part of, LightPay Coin. Our goal was to bring cryptocurrencies to the masses. The cryptocurrencies really allow us to even a playing field, so to speak, not relying so much on these large financial institutions. I went from LightPay Coin to Lotus Coin. And Lotus Coin was more about how we use blockchain in supply chain. From that project, we are where we are now, which is a much solid, much future-based project, XCZ, Exchange, where we focus on how can we ensure that individuals have the skills they need for the workforce of the future. So we have a online-based, blockchain-backed, AI-based learning platform that we're supporting now. And Dr. Davis may go into this in his portion, I'm not sure. But long story short is my blockchain experience is about 4 or 5 years now. And I gotta say, just Kenny just said, it's been a big dud. It has not been a big dud. Right? we haven't seen it live up to its promise yet. But today, hopefully, through the 2 cases, you will see that there is a very bright potential for blockchain. So the first question about blockchain is, where does it come from and what is it? A blockchain is basically, it's a digital ledger with a list of growing records. Each record is a block. So these are blocks linked together using cryptography. And cryptography is a very complicated way of securing your records and files. We'll talk about that briefly later. Each block contains a cryptographic hash of the previous block, a timestamp, and transaction data. There's more in a block than that, but those are the three main components. It was invented by a person or a group. Quite frankly, we don't know who Satoshi Nakamoto is, but he invented blockchain a number of years ago. And the sole purpose for the invention was to serve as a public transaction ledger for Bitcoin. Now, the technology behind blockchain existed, but Satoshi Nakamoto or a group of people, they were the ones that perfected it for cryptocurrencies and to solve the double spending problem without the need of a trusted authority or a central server. And this was a game changer. What this means is, if I have some sort of electronic or online currency, and I want to give Andrea, I have 5. I want to give Andrea 5. I may want to give Kenny 5. I may want to give Omar 5. I can't give them the same 5. Most things online you can duplicate. What he was able to do was to make sure that there were enough nodes monitoring transactions that if I gave Andrea 5, that then would remove the 5 I have. I'm not able to spend that same amount twice. Now, typically, to do this, we have to go to what? A trusted authority, such as a central bank. And they're the ones who make sure credit, debit, credit, debit, credit, debit. Knowing now that we can do this without a bank was a game changer. And we'll perhaps go deeper into that. But just remember, the work that Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever he or they are, did to really perfect cryptocurrencies was the game changer that allows us now to have, I would say, thousands upon thousands of different cryptocurrencies in the market. So we talked about blockchain. Let's start with the first component, which is, so for blockchain, there are really 3 key pillars of the technology. We talked about the fact that what cryptocurrency and Bitcoin allowed us to do was to not rely on a central authority. So blockchain is decentralized. It means that there is no single owner. Each member in the network has a copy of the exact same data in the form of a distributed ledger, meaning that now you may have thousands, 100,000 of individual nodes of computers that have the same information on there. That's very important because now it's no longer owned by one entity, okay? It's decentralized. It's also transparent. All transactions are fully viewable by anyone on the network. This also means that everything is viewable. So now think about this. When doing business, if all your transactions are viewable, that may prompt you to make sure you're not doing anything outside of the law. You're not doing anything that we consider shady, because people could easily see each and every transaction. So decentralized, very transparent, and then finally, and this may be one of the strongest components of blockchain, is immutability. All transactions are indelible, meaning no one can attempt to manipulate or change the record forever. This means simply, the data can't be deleted or changed ever. Again, going back to the fact that it's decentralized, thousands of nodes, computers, have the same records that are transparent. You cannot go back and change the vast majority of those records. In order to change this, you'd have to get control of 51% of the computers and change the information there, which as of right now is impossible, which is why I said earlier, the blockchain itself did not get hacked, okay? We'll share more about that later. So 3 pillars of blockchain technology, and there are other pillars, but these are the 3 main pillars: decentralized, transparency, and the fact that it is immutable. The records cannot be changed ever. Any questions at this point? Okay, so what is a block? So a block has several components, but the main components of a block: data, hash, and hash of the previous block. And the data, again, are records. Records, records, records. The hash itself, and then the hash of the previous block. So let's start first with the data. Here's an example using Bitcoin. So for this example, the data is one person is sending Bitcoin to another person, and here are the number of Bitcoin. The data itself can be any number of records. It could be text, It could be information about the supply chain, about what products are in the supply chain. It could be any host of data. What's important thing to remember here, the data is records. Now, these records make up what we call the hash. So the content of that record, of the data, is taken and put into a hash format. And hashing means taking an input string of any length and giving out an output of a fixed length. In the case of SHA-256, it is 256 bits in length. So regardless of what the data is, it'll always spit out a hash that is of that length. If the data, let's say the data is, say 200 records, and the hashing is translating that into a hash, it'll still be the same length as if the data was one record. Very important here, right? Data, hash, and then finally, the hash of the previous block. And the hash of the previous block is what really helps create the chain. So if you think about the three components, the data, the hash, and a hash of the previous block, you'll start to see how we create the chain. And it might not be so clear, but we'll clarify. So if you think about the first block that was made, the first block, again, data, hash, in this case, no previous hash. We go to the second block. The second block, data, a new hash, and also the previous hash. So the Genesis block had the hash of 1Z8F. Now that is what ties it to the second block. And once they're tied, you now have the first components of a chain. So simple folks may say the previous hash is that chain because that's what links the blocks together. So continuing here, we have block 2. Block 2 has hash 6BQ1. And previous hash going back to the Genesis block. As we go to block 3 has new data, a new hash, and also the previous hash. And that is what then links these blocks together. And this continues on. I think in some cases, a block is generated every 6 or 7 minutes. So you can see how rapidly these blocks are generated. Again, data, hash, previous hash. Now this is very important because again, this is what or how the chain is formed. Those 3 key components. And there are several more components, but these are the 3 key components. We talk about the records being immutable, meaning they cannot be changed. Now, here's what's very key with blockchain. Using the same scenario, if somebody tried to go back now and change information in the second block, let's say the second block has information about the purchase of an automobile. It said, Colin Thompson purchased an automobile for X amount of dollars. If they tried to go back and change any of the content to say, Andrea Pratt Smith bought this car for X amount of dollars, that then would change the hash because the hash is developed per the content. If you change one item in that one item of data, it gives you a totally different hash. So in that case, now block 3 will not be able to link back to block 2 because the hash was changed. And if you go back to the fact that this is decentralized, you have this data on thousands of computers. So once the data is changed, it will not be accepted because it has been changed. Does that make sense? Any questions on this? Because this part is very, very important. Any questions?
I have a question. More likely, yes. If the data is changed, it more likely be like a corrupt data for the third part. Am I understanding that correctly?
When you say corrupt data, what do you mean?
Means that something was changed.
Yes.
So in terminology of technology, in those terms, it'd be that the data was corrupted or changed, so it doesn't have a link anymore.
Correct. Okay. And the network would not accept this change. This change.
Correct, because it's not the original. It's not the original data.
Right, and there is no link. Right, there is no link to it.
Correct.
It can't link back. Okay.
So, sorry, hi, Tabitha here. So with the data, so the data originally, let's just say I'm in procurement. So the original data would be data that I would have put in, correct?
Correct, correct.
Okay, and so you said that it can't be changed once it's already put in, right?
Correct.
So then how would the data change? Is it something that I would, me being the originator, that I can make a manipulation or however, how would that change? And then also, if it's changed, then how would that affect my original data if it's changed from the original input that I put in?
Right. So in case of procurement, yeah, let's say for example, somebody wanted to change the quantity of a product we received. Now, because we have thousands literally of nodes computers, this would not be one person trying to make a change. This would be a coordinated attack of people trying to change data. But again, because the change is made, the link is no longer there, and it will not be accepted from the network itself. So each node, as they're going through their, as they're going through the process of not hashing, and each node ensures that at all times they have matching records. So if something that doesn't match, right, it will not be accepted going forward. So it's not one individual trying to change a record, because that isn't going to be able to cause any impact, because you have thousands of records, and changing one node would not have impact. So you're talking about a coordinated attack by thousands of nodes, but that would not be possible due to the fact that there is no link anymore. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Perhaps not. Perhaps not.
So my original data is hinged on, say, your data and Andrea's data. It's all combined.
So let's assume all the different data is in one block. Okay. So I'm not sure. It's not different data. It's data in one block, and then that block then is linked to the next block based on the hash. So the data, so the three data components, yours, Andrea's, and whoever in that one block will produce a hash. That hash is then linked to the next block. If anything changes in the original data, that link would no longer be there and would not be accepted by the other nodes. So it cannot be changed. An attempt, it can be attempted to be changed, but it will not be changed, because unless you change 51% of all the nodes, it will not be accepted by the network.
Okay, but me, as I would know which block my data is in.
You would know which block it is. Well, yes, because all the data is transparent. You can always go back and see the records.
Okay.
And this will be much more clear in a few weeks with Dr. Davis. I guarantee you. Go ahead, Kenny.
Now I had a question as it relates to, I see they being linked by hash and previous hash. When it comes to the verification to make sure like the data is correct, if a computer is offline, can that be verified? Like say one of the computers in the chain is offline. Would that cause an issue when it comes to verifying that the data is correct?
Absolutely not, because again, you have thousands of computers that make up the node, right? So it's not dependent upon one computer. You have thousands of computers. And that actually takes us, Kenny, to the next slide, which is talking about the consensus model, right? So this talks about how are new blocks made in public blockchains. So you have several models, but the main two models are proof of work and proof of stake. So in proof of work, miners compete to add to the next block. What they're doing, they're really solving an extremely difficult mathematical problem. And once they solve this problem, they are then awarded some currency and allowed to validate the next block. Now, this is very important, because this way of consensus takes a lot of power. If you recall, Elon Musk a few months ago mentioned that Tesla would accept cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, to purchase cars. He then changed course and said, we're not really going to do that. And the reason is proof of work takes too much power. It really takes a lot of power, and it's not efficient or healthy for the world. It really cannot be, you cannot claim to be a green organization and rely on proof of work. So this method really takes a lot of computer power. If you think about a hairdryer, if you had a mining box plugged in, it's like running a hairdryer. It's very loud and absorbs a lot of power, which is why a lot of countries also have outlawed and blocked the use of miners and proof of work. The more what I call friendly way of building consensus, and building consensus is when a new block is formed with transactions, and they say, okay, based on the hash, the previous hash, we accept this as a validated block. Okay, this can be added to our block, but you have to have consensus. The nodes have to agree. So proof of work, to do that, a miner will solve a mathematical problem. But proof of stake means that we select people who own the currency, and we say the more currency you own, the more time they're going to come to you and ask you to validate this new block. So what this does, something validated in proportion to their stake in associated currency, it overcomes the disadvantage requirement of high computational energy in the proof of work. And several currencies use this: Ethereum, Peercoin, Redcoin, and this really is where we think things are going. Now, Bitcoin still uses proof of work. Now, going forward, at some point though, we think most blockchains that won't be sustainable will move to a POS platform, proof of stake, and there are other models as well. But the blockchain consensus model, this is what really validates each block. And each new block is formed, you have to say again, the previous hash match, do we have all the everything we need to verify this is a valid block? Once it's valid, we then add it to the chain, and it grows and grows and grows. Okay, and guys, I know I'm going through this rapidly, but we have to get to at least one business case. So there are 3 core types of blockchain networks. The first one that we know about is public. Permissionless, anybody can join. As long as you own some of those coins, you can join. The other one is private. If you think about organizations, they also can have a blockchain that is permissioned, meaning you must get permission to that blockchain. And then we have consortium. A consortium is where you have several private organizations coming together to form a blockchain, where different organizations have different rights within the consortium. So public, as long as you own some of the coin, you're able to see all the records and have access. Private, owned by company, permission. A consortium, where various companies come together to form a consortium and try to form and try to do something very good for blockchain. And we're going to go to a business case that shows this. So we now want to use a business case for supply chain. And guys, I'm going to try to get through both of these cases. So if I go too fast, I apologize. But if I'm going too fast, tell me to slow down so we can at least get through one business case. So I think we're all familiar with the fact that there is a lot of contamination taking place. Every 44 minutes, 23 million per year, people fall sick from eating contaminated food. About 5,000 people each year lose their lives. So I want to show you now how blockchain is used in supply chain to try to battle and stop the deepness of contaminated food going to our plates. You may be familiar with this company, Walmart. In 2018, Walmart had a tremendous recall of lettuce. 210 people in 36 states were affected, and ultimately 5 people died. Now they traced the bad lettuce, the contaminated lettuce, back to a single plant in Yuma, Arizona. The problem was, due to the nature of the processes, there was no way to identify which lettuce actually came from Yuma. So we know the lettuce from Yuma is bad, but we don't know which lettuce in the stores came from Yuma. So due to that, Walmart did what any grocer would do. They cleared every shred of lettuce off the shelves, millions of bags. Even consumers who bought lettuce at home, not even from Walmart, ended up throwing the lettuce away. And over time, more and more people got sick. Now, this was and I remember this was a terrible, terrible situation. Yet, I shouldn't say terrible yet, but it was also a very groundbreaking event for blockchain and supply chain, because this was when Walmart knew they had to find a way to resolve this. They had to find a way to be able to identify the origins of contaminated food faster. So the issue with the process at the time, again, bags of lettuce were not marked with Yuma, Arizona. Most farm information tracking is still paper-based. And with paper-based ledgers, you must contact the supplier, get fax a copy, and start tracking back. Now in the US, the only requirement organizations have about keeping records is one back, one up, which means that you must be able to show where you got it from and where it's going. So if you have several links in that chain, right? If that lettuce is touching many hands, it's impossible to really keep track of where it's coming from, because I'm only responsible for identifying where it came from and where I sent it. Of course, these warehouses use different systems, so it makes it very difficult to track back. So working around the clock, it can take up to 7 days to track back from the plate to the original source. So you may say, well, 7 days, that's a really, really long time to track back. Why is it so complicated? Well, let's look at the journey of romaine lettuce. The lettuce first starts at the farm where it grows, and a farmer will harvest it. The farmer will then send that to a processing facility where it gets washed, sliced, and bagged. Next, it goes to a DC where it's sorted, placed on trucks, and delivered to many different stores. Once at the store, it goes to the sales floor. From the sales floor, it goes to a cart, or if you're a personal shopper, it goes into a different sort of cart. Then the customer gets it. So now you have almost 6 or 7 different touch points for a single product. And remember, each touch point may have a different way of logging the ins and outs of that product. And most stores have over 70,000 products, so it gets very, very complicated. Again, Walmart realized they needed to resolve this problem. So they did a few things. In 2018, Walmart partnered with IBM and announced a new blockchain-enabled Walmart Food Traceability Initiative. And the goal here was to increase the transparency of the food from the farm to the table. And this was groundbreaking, because Walmart, the first thing they did, they really forced their vendors, the producers, the suppliers, to really, what I call, fall in line. Meaning, they said all leafy green suppliers are expected to be able to trace the products back to the farms by production lot in seconds, not days. In seconds, not days. And they sent this letter September 24th, 2018. And this was really groundbreaking, because now Walmart, a major power, they weren't just saying, you know, we hope you'll do this. They're saying, if you want to be a part of our network and continue to have your products in our stores, you must be able to meet these requirements. That was really shifting. Now, I'll tell you what happened. Walmart was able to do this because they really had the forethought. In 2016, they started working on this initiative with IBM. The part of IBM had this food trust solution, which was laid on top of IBM's blockchain platform. The blockchain platform was built using Hyperledger Fabric, which is really the nuts and bolts to what we call the nuts and bolts to blockchain platforming. How you go from having a single blockchain to having a blockchain ecosystem. And that was built by Hyperledger Fabric. And of course, this is part of the consortium blockchain network. Again, Walmart, IBM, and other organizations coming together to see how they can band together to solve this problem. Okay. So, as we know, implementing a new pilot program is difficult, but how was Walmart able to implement a blockchain pilot program like this so quickly? Remember, early 2018, we had the contaminated lettuce. By the end of the year, they're going forward with this program. Let's talk about how they did this. First step was identifying a clear value proposition and business case for investment in blockchain. Excuse me. Okay. Now, their position, the value proposition was very simple. to respond quickly and its need to safeguard the Walmart name. Walmart really was concerned about reputation. People were starting to associate Walmart with contaminated food. So Walmart really had to find a way to change this. Second, that to ensure there's also compelling value proposition for the participants. When you're forcing organizations to change, they have to find value in it in order for them not to push back. And Walmart was great by saying, you know what? If you're part of our consortium, if you're part of this program, you also will get access to the records. Again, blockchain being transparent. You can get access to the records, and you now can make improvements to your supply chain. So the fact that you're getting more information about the ins and outs of your products, temperatures of your foods when shipping, a lot of information, and again, transparency and full traceability. Thirdly, Walmart worked with IBM to identify a platform that can integrate with the existing supply chain operators. They did not want to reinvent the wheel. So IBM's solution was leveraging current and existing technologies to enhance supply chain traceability using, again, hyperledger technology. This is very important. A lot of times, if you want to go forward with a pilot-only program, we try to start fresh. It was important that they did not start fresh. They want to leverage existing IT in order to get people onboarded faster and not sort of spend time reinventing the wheel. Fourth, Walmart and IBM worked together to build a step-by-step approach to testing and refining solutions. So again, they started this in 2016. In 2016, they started with a few products to understand how they can better learn how to track from farm to the plate. So by 2018, they were ready. And that's how they're able to really utilize blockchain technologies with IBM to go forward so quickly. And fifth, Walmart built a broad knowledge network around global food safety, which is key because now the people who they invited in early also were part of the people who set the standards in the industry. So now I'm not just a vendor or supplier, I'm helping to actually have some input on the standards, which is very, very key. And finally, and lastly, Walmart recognized that early cooperation with the government regulators will be crucial. And the response from the government regulators on this initiative was, you know what, we love it. We love it. We can now use blockchain technology and its transparency, right? It's transparency and ledger to investigate contaminated incidents and monitor safety of food supply quickly. Now, government regulators could also use the technology, use the program here to track down food contamination and find out the root cause very, very rapidly. Okay, so I'm going to go straight to the result. So let me ask BJ. So BJ, so what do you think the result was from this implementation? With blockchain research, it took 7 days to trace one product back to the source. Now, today, what do you think the result is?
It enabled Walmart to satisfy the needs of the customer, the supplier, and its shareholders that, look, we identify the problem, we can identify any problems in the future, and we can identify any issues going forward to remove that risk out of our network. And basically it did more than just that. The supplier can see where the purchaser destroyed his product. And the stockholder can see, look, my system is working fine. We need no tweaking.
Let me jump in, BJ. Apologies for interrupting you. So my question is, now, previously it took 7 days to trace this water bottle back to the source, where the water came from. After IBM and Walmart put forth this initiative, now how long do you think it takes to trace back this water bottle to the source? It took 7 days before. How long do you think it takes now?
2 seconds.
Oh, almost 2.2 seconds, right? So take a moment and think about that, right? So now, if we hear about an issue with food contaminated, we now can trace back in 2.2 seconds to say, you know what? Don't clear the shelves, clear this batch, right? And contact other stores, here is the batch that was bad. And this is tremendous. 7 days meaning we don't know what's coming from. And think about the amount of food being wasted and thrown away as well, okay? 7 days to 2.2 seconds. This is huge. And I hope you understand the tremendous impact this is having in the industry, not just for Walmart, not just for lettuce, but all over the supply chain industry. And guys, we have 15 minutes. I'm going to get through these next slides in 5 minutes, and I apologize. I'm going to go like really, really fast. I want to share quickly an example in the healthcare market, okay? So healthcare, which is near and dear to all of us. So I'm not going to go through all of this, but blockchain healthcare improves the security of patients' records, the authenticity of drugs and drug supply chain traceability, making sure we don't have tainted drugs in the market. So every year, 30 billion transactions take place. Half of those still use faxes, which is crazy. Physicians do not receive data on time, or the data is inaccurate. That leads to death. That leads to death with 80% of miscommunication. The inclusion and sale of counterfeit pharmaceutical data, also contributes to a loss of over 200 billion per year. But quite frankly, it's not about the money, right? It's about the lives, right? Think about the lives that are being lost every year due to the fact that people don't have healthcare information on time, or people are ingesting tainted drugs. And of course, we all know this, we don't own our medical records, right? We can get access, but we don't own our records. So in case of emergency, what can we do, right? We must wait about 30 days. So to sort of solve the problem with inclusion and sale of counterfeit drugs, the blockchain properties are transparency and immutability. One thing we know that if you're getting into the private blockchain into consortium, only trustworthy companies can register products on a blockchain. This is because we want to make sure that we have good players in our consortium. All the data about the drugs is on the blockchain. Every block of data by nature will be timestamped and alterable, and not possible to tamper with the data to include counterfeit drugs. So this is very, very important because the movement of drugs now is tracked in real time, which means you're not able to put counterfeit drugs into the supply chain. So now we're looking at solving a problem of having counterfeit drugs. Use the blockchain to make sure only organizations that have a strong track record and can prove the origination of their drugs can be part of the consortium. Now, you mentioned that 63% of physicians do not receive data on time, and this contributes to about 80% miscommunication of patient-related data, and this results in death. So here we look at the properties of a private blockchain, transparency, and immutability. Storage, access, and security. So what we're doing now in healthcare, irrespective of which medical center you go to, your data is on the blockchain in a single place. So this is not a private block, it's not a public blockchain, this is a private blockchain. But regardless if you go to a hospital on this island, your data is stored in one place. And it's very, very important because now the data over a lifetime is there. I know for a fact, if I go to a hospital here, they have no information about me 5 years ago, even 2 years ago. And it's very dangerous if I have some allergic reaction to certain medicines. Also, the interoperability of the blockchain system, having everything in one place, allows the doctors to have near instant access to your data. So if you had an accident or have to go to the hospital, it's very important the doctor has your history. If the longer they wait, the more they're putting you at risk. So the blockchain will allow to have instant access to your records, and also the blockchain will ensure unparalleled security of patient data, which can be altered, meaning it can't be changed, it can't be held for ransom. Right now, as you know, a lot of ransomware attacks are taking place. That cannot happen in the blockchain environment. And then finally, which to me is the most important part, right now, patients do not own our own medical records. And I find this to be such a violation of our rights. Again, we may request access to our records, but we do not own our records. With blockchain being decentralized, patients themselves will control and monitor their data. And it's very important because now, if I'm going to a dentist and I want him to have access to my records, I can allow him to have access just to records that pertain to my mouth, not all records. It's very important because this allows you, if need be, to also not have to reveal your identity, having access to your records. And finally, in some cases, you know now that a lot of organizations that do research use your data without you being paid for it. It now allows patients to say, if you want to see my health records, you now can pay me for that. So now patients can also earn money by allowing access to their health records. So this is just very fast examples of how blockchain, a part of blockchain in healthcare is really looking to add value. Now, I think the stats say by end of last year, 1 in every 5 medical and healthcare organizations have been using blockchain for data management and patients' purposes. By 2025, over half of healthcare applications will have been deployed blockchain for commercial purposes. And also that year, we'll see a jump from 170 million to 5.61 billion will be the valuation of blockchain in healthcare. So, wow. So guys, that was really, really laser fast. Really, really laser fast. And let me stop my sharing here. We don't have a whole lot of time for Q&A. And that is an example of too much content, right? I got that. But I do want to just address a couple things. There was a comment earlier about the Poly network, how the Poly network was hacked. I don't know anything about the hack, but my belief is it was not the blockchain network. It was the platform. It was the Polynet platform that more likely got hacked, not the blockchain network. It was more or less the platform. And if you hack the platform, then you have access to the records in the blockchain. Let me see here.
I agree with you on that, Colin.
Yeah, thank you, Monique. Yeah, thank you, Monique. So I want you guys to know that the blockchain network is very, very, very secure. Cryptocurrencies, which perhaps we'll talk about in another setting, cryptocurrencies, you have to do your due diligence before you invest. You have to take security protocols. There are some folks who maybe own Poly that didn't have their funds there, had elsewhere, who's still safe. So you have to really be careful on which cryptocurrencies you invest in. But let me stop here and ask for the next 7 minutes. Do we have any questions?
I have one.
Yeah.
I guess to piggyback off my previous comment, I said basically that the impact of blockchain has not been what persons had expected. Any reasons as to why it hasn't? Because especially in the tech space, usually things kind of expand or is duplicated very quickly or rapidly. Why? Any reason you believe that hasn't been the case for blockchain?
Yeah, so I think it has been the case. I think though people don't see it. For example, use the Walmart case, right? Now, you don't hear about as much contaminated products being on the shelves anymore because of what Walmart did with blockchain, because how much safer they made the supply chain. We're not going to see anybody holding a sign said, okay, there's been less contaminated food there because of blockchain. So it's there, you're just not seeing it. It's not out in the open. Now, again, when blockchain came about, well, when the word blockchain came about a few years ago, they said, wow, this is going to change the world, which means people want to see it loud, right? We want to be able to see proof of it. But sometimes the absence of contaminated food is proof that the blockchain is working. I'm not sure how we put blockchain on the forefront, right? Because it's a technology in the background. I think that almost a bad rap that blockchain has is crypto, right? Because people believe that if crypto is going good, blockchain is great, it's working. If crypto is going bad, blockchain is not working. And it's not a one-to-one relationship there, right? So I think it is being used in more examples, right? But it takes time for adoption. You're going to see blockchain being used in government. We have a thing called blockchain democracy. And blockchain democracy talks about how do we really make sure that we're now doing voting using blockchain technology, no longer having to wait in line doing paper ballots, right? We know in some countries that the results, in some countries, you have more votes turned in than people who voted. Right? How is that possible? So using the blockchain for voting rights ensures that each person gets one vote. And now you don't have to physically go, you can vote on your phone. right? But again, when that happens, nobody's going to say, hey, it's a blockchain. They're going to say, hey, we have e-voting, right? Right? They're going to call it e-voting or catchphrase, but it's built on blockchain. So I think it is working, but you're just not seeing blockchain being made the blockchain being made the main driver. You're seeing other words and organizations being used. Does that make sense, Kenny?
Yeah, makes sense. And I guess that is the purpose of it per se. It is for more, I guess, background security, verification, and everything else. So you never see those kind of processes front and center. So that's a good point. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Anybody else?
One concern I have, not a concern, but acknowledgement. I'm not an IT expert, but I worked around communication. I understand risks and exposure. And a lot of people's lives were saved because you could have gone back to data that no one could have tampered with. I can't discuss it any further, but a lot of lives were saved because of that. Blockchain seemed to provide a brick wall in the IT environment. And if this it can't change our character type and character traits, but it can help. Just that we need to have the right people to manage the system. That's my only concern, because you can have people who build systems and it's just there to pull away from the weak and not build mankind. My concern is how we build a world that is better.
And BJ, thank you. And I think though it does change behavior. It can change how people act. If you look at this in the form of the government base, if you're thinking about now people who are contributing to certain campaigns, how government officials are spending their money. If you think about now, if there was an open record of how they're spending their money, you might not see so many government officials acting certain ways. Right now, we ask them to vote on our behalf. What if a blockchain, when it came time to vote, we voted, right? They're going to Congress and each congressman voting on our behalf, but they might not be voting on how we feel. What now if we could actually vote during their term? They're not voting on every act, we're voting ourselves, right? So I think it does change behavior, especially the fact that all records are transparent. If I'm a congressperson and I know that where I spend my money, people will see. And we know that right now, people are going through piles and piles of data to see exactly who spent what on what, right? If I know it's transparent, I promise you, I will act the right way. So I do think that's a way to change behavior, and not just for Congress, but for people in general. If we have more transparency of the way we act and what we're doing, typically people will act better. We have time for one final closing question.
I don't have a question. This is Monique per se, but a comment. Can you briefly explain the vulnerability of the blockchain when you attach it to a centralized system? Because I think that's where a lot of people fail. I think because I'm in the IT industry, I could sort of understand some of the terms a little easier than someone who may not be, because it could be over someone's head if you don't have the background. I say that because based on one question the lady spoke about earlier, she was asking about she entered a record for someone in the database. You'd use an example, I think, a transaction. And she said, well, what if she wanted to change something? And you talk about the previous hash for the connection. I could be wrong, but my impression was she had likened it to a database in her mind as typing in something in the computer and okay, oh, I can't change the record. It's totally separate from what you're talking about from a jargon, technical wise, to the blockchain, as opposed to, okay, I just go and change a record, as opposed to, okay, this record is sealed, there's a private key to access it. It's difficult for people who aren't technical to understand that. So maybe if you could just show or explain briefly how the breach comes not so much on the blockchain, but how the blockchain may be connected to an entity that is vulnerable because of their centralized network, if that makes any sense. I see Larry shaking his head like he get it.
Yeah, and you know what, Monique, I've learned to go to the ones that know. So I'm going to pass that question over to Larry, Dr. Davis, because this is exactly in his lane of expertise.
Thank you, Colin. And I'm going to start a timer and in 2 minutes. So first thing is that organizations operate these places where cryptocurrency is exchanged. When we say exchange, it's just like how if you have the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ or the Nikkei exchange in Japan, commerce is occurring. People are buying and selling things at different rates. And of course, what you want to do is you want to buy low and you want to sell high. When you're on those exchanges, when you're conducting those stock or securities trades or commodities, you have an account on those exchanges where you put money in and then you can use it to buy a stock or not. Well, those accounts and those organizations which are running those exchanges are just like any other organization. They have vulnerabilities. They have to guard their places of entry where attacks can occur. If you don't, then bad things happen. So social engineering is still the easiest way that hackers get into things. All you have to do is you call up somebody and you say, hey, this is the security guy from down in the basement. I need your password in order to make sure that the lights don't get cut off for the entire building. And somebody gives it to them. And from that one piece of information, they then go for the next one, next one, and next one. So the blockchain itself, the distributed ledger technology, is just a record. That record, because of how it is made, cannot be tampered with. But your account that's holding your cryptocurrency on the exchange or your cash can be accessed and manipulated. And so that's what's happening. That's the difference, and that is 2 minutes.
Thank you. That was an excellent explanation.
Okay, great. I always know who to go to. Thank you, Dr. Davis. So guys, I want to just leave you with this. The future of blockchain is great. Blockchain will change the way we do business. Will it change the world? I don't know, but it will change the way we do business. And I do think if you look at the technical of blockchain, cryptocurrency and whatnot, that's where you may see the world changing in the way that it balances things out. It breaks our reliance on these financial institutions. It gives organizations and people independence, and it really helps us to, in some cases, to really put our money in something that will really retain value over a long time. So the future of blockchain is strong. I want to thank you all for giving me the 90 minutes, even though it seems like I need more like 2 hours, right? The 90 minutes for presenting this morning. And there's never a better way to start my birthday. And not just speaking, but speaking with people from the region of my family. So thank you guys a lot. I look forward to joining you on the next session.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thompson, for joining us. And thank you, Dr. Larry Davis, for taking the baton, because we're going to be having you presenting on the 26th of August. I've been getting pics, the notices on my phone that persons have already started registering for that next meetup on the 26th of August. So we're very interested in continuing this conversation and learning more about blockchain and how it benefits us in business and in project management. And thank you so much, Mr. Thompson. Happy birthday. We are so glad that you took some time to celebrate the beginning of your birthday with us, because even though it's 7:30 p.m. where most of us are, it's 7:30 a.m. in Shanghai, China. So you enjoy your birthday, and we look forward to you participating in another meetup. I will be reaching out to you on another topic, hopefully for next year early. So, you know, we'll stay in contact, but thank you so much for an awesome presentation. I'm sure that everyone in attendance enjoyed this conversation, and we will be back once again on the 26th of August. The registration is open, so please get your tickets as early as you can. The system will send you a reminder on the date to attend. So you can get your tickets from now, and the system will automatically remind you, so we can continue this part 2 series. I'm calling it a part 2 series. I just came up with that. a part 2 series to continue the conversation on blockchain, Bitcoin, and cryptocurrency, so we can all get up to speed on what this actually means and how we can use it to benefit not only our personal lives, but our professional lives. So thank you again, Mr. Thompson. And how do you say happy birthday in Chinese? I should have said go to the easy one. How do you say good morning?
Good morning. 早上好，早上好. And you say happy birthday. God, I should some English here. 新年快乐，新年快乐.
So what he
新
said,
年快乐，新年快乐，新年快乐，
Chu Nian Kwai Lao?
快乐.
Kwai Lao. Okay,
Yeah.
someone else try to say that fast. Let Ralph try. Let Ralph try. Shu name. So okay, that's a tongue twister. You're muted,
Yeah,
Ralph.
yeah, Ralph knows it.
新年快乐,
Oh,
Colin.
man.
Yeah.
He's making
Yeah.
us look bad. I'll say Feliz cumpleaños. I know
I
Spanish,
got that
so
one.
you
Got
know,
that one. I got that.
I'm representing Omar right now. Omar had to leave a few minutes early, but Feliz cumpleaños, and thank you very much. And we will meet again on August 26th. Dr. Larry Davis, we are so looking forward to hearing from you then. And thank you so much, Mr. Thompson. Good night, everyone. Go and have dinner. Some of you go and have breakfast.
All right.
Take
Thank you,
care.
guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good
Enjoy
night.
the rest of the day. Bye.